Welcome in, everybody, to the PHNX Suns pregame show presented by Michelob Ultra. I'm Lindsay. That's Saul. That's Bobo.
Hey, everybody, you got the graphic? Look at me. I tried to find my best Bobo impersonation. It's fake fur, courtesy of Michaela Perkins.
Listen, it's not
today.
bad. It's
So
not bad.
I did what I could do on short notice.
That's Michaela's?
So, yeah, it's Michaela's.
How the fuck did you fit in that?
It was extra big for her. You know, she likes to wear baggy things. I'm kind of jammed in here, but Bobo wore that at practice, and I decided, you know what, I'll get as close as I can in a matter of hours. Believe me, I scoured the internet for the exact thing. It couldn't get here till tomorrow, so I made do.
My goodness gracious. Listen, it's been real cold the last couple of days, so I don't blame Bobo or you for busting out the fur coats or the Sherpas, whatever you want to call them. We got the Clippers tonight, you guys, the Suns, and the Clippers going to go toe-to-toe. This one's going to be an interesting game. It's for a few reasons. Obviously, we talked about it last week. This will be a big test for the Sun squad, but we're not going to get to see a full-strength Suns in this test because, unfortunately, Kevin Durant remains out for this game with right hamstring tightness. Nassir Little is also out, which I don't know what is going on with Nas because he's missed games and then he was available all day today until about an hour ago. Then he was questionable. Then he was out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what's going on with Nas?
I don't know what's going on with him.
That seems weird.
Very weird.
I don't know. But from the Kevin Durant front, I will fully admit I was entirely wrong because on Monday, I was like, he's just resting.
Mm-hmm.
Second night of a back-to-back. Like, sure, they're going to call it a thing, but it's not something that's real big. He might actually be sore, but like, we're definitely not going to not see him on Wednesday. I was wrong.
I still think this may just be extended rest because of the amount of minutes that they've played him. And there's some reports out there that he's definitely going to go on Friday. This was just precautionary, so I know that it feels like this game is huge, but in the overall long-term picture, it's still an early January game. You've got 2 of your 3. If he has any kind of soreness, I think it's just precautionary. Give him the extra time because you've played him far more minutes than I think anybody expected him to play this far.
I disagree because you don't get a lot of opportunities to play teams that, first of all, I can't even remember. Can you? The last time the Clippers were fully healthy?
Playing against
us?
No.
It's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
And they have a big 3 as well. They're working through some things. This is one of the unique opportunities that you get to test yourself against a team that has always played us pretty good, even though we've always had the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
They always seem like they should be undermanned and they shouldn't be in these games. And yet a lot of the games have always been close, And so I wanted to see our big 3 against their big 3 because that's been the talk for most of this offseason, especially after Harden went to the Clippers. So I would be disappointed if they were just like, we're just going to give him a little bit more rest when he could have played tonight. Like, I'd rather him rest on Friday against the Miami Heat than today, because today is a legitimate Western Conference opponent that it could be a contender for the Western Conference. You got to measure yourself against them. But to go back, I think this is the best thing that could have happened to Devin Booker. Devin Booker's been going through it. He's been in a little bit of a slump in terms of shooting and his efficiency. The best thing you could have is somebody coming to your house that you absolutely despise.
Mm-hmm.
Paul George, let's go.
So before we get into that beef between the two of them, a couple more things. So Frank Vogel did say before the game in his pregame availability when it comes to Kevin Durant and the hamstring issue. The medical team still had something they were concerned about, so that's why he's out again tonight. He is still considered day-to-day, and they'll see how he progresses in the next 48 hours.
And look, I want to make it clear. I don't think he's not sore. I just don't think it's as serious. And I get your point about this, but you get another shot at him on Monday.
But they're both coming off of a back-to-back in that game, so that one's kind of like a toss-up as it is.
Yeah. I get it, but if there's any soreness with Kevin Durant, you got to play it with caution
fair.
at this point, because if you get another extended injury with one of these big three, it could really screw you in the long run. So I get wanting to measure yourself against top caliber or top quality, opponents, but I also don't want to do it at the risk of does that cause something bigger with Kevin Durant if it's just simple soreness right now, but he overcompensates and all of a sudden we're looking at another 3 weeks before we see the big three.
And it's a hamstring too. Like those are really tricky. You saw it with Book throughout the years. You got to be super careful with
but
hammy.
Kevin Durant's a little different.
But it's still, still though.
It's like you can't compare a panther to a giraffe.
Are you calling Devin a giraffe?
No, I'm calling Devin a panther.
You're calling KD a giraffe?
Yeah. Because he's long. He's got long legs.
How
he
does the
basically takes
hamstring
2 steps to get to half court. Like, what does he
But
need?
he
his
still
hamstring
has
for?
to
more
accelerate.
What do you need your hamstring for? You're too tall.
Use your calf, man.
I mean, if you told me Azubuike, who doesn't have any speed anyways, I'd go, okay, maybe, but
oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out for the remainder of the week, but where was this comment? Okay, Los, C-Los in the chat said the way Book worded it is he deserves the rest. Didn't sound bad, but precautionary, like Espo said. So at shoot around this morning, Devin was talking about Kevin Durant and did kind of mention, he does sort of deserve a little bit more rest with how much he's had on his plate this year, which he's not wrong. But I don't know that I would read too much into what Book says because they're not going to say anything about another player's injury.
No.
Like he knows better than that. So I don't know. I think maybe they're just, but based on Book kind of referring to it as rest and then being in a hamstring, it is Kevin Durant. Seems like they're just extra cautious
and
for the sake of being extra cautious.
designation.
Right. Instead of a strain or something of that sort.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, by the way, we talked about my fit. I love that you're rocking the full Devin Booker tonight.
Thank you.
It looks good too.
Well, I didn't mean to wear the full Devin Booker. I actually got this shirt a long time ago, and I was going through the closet and I was trying to figure out what was going to match this hat. So I was like, oh, this shirt. So I put it on.
And the Moss points, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it all works. I like those looks tonight. Okay, so who's starting? Tonight we're going to see Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen, Chimezie Metu, and Yusuf Nurkic again in that starting lineup. Makes sense to me. I'm not mad at it. I do wonder, though, do you guys expect to see more Josh Okogie or Jordan Goodwin in tonight's game? Because the Suns defense is going to have to step it up.
I actually think we're going to see a little bit more KBD.
KBD, okay.
Yeah,
KBD, especially against Paul George. Like, I think there's not a lot of guys that have the length to be able to try and, at least try to slow Paul George down. KBD is one of those guys, and if he's going to step up, this would be solid.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to need some defense, but I'm concerned about the second unit in all facets tonight because the Clippers have such a good bench with Norman Powell, Russell Westbrook is on that bench. They're deep there. They can score. And we've seen over the last few games, the Suns bench isn't, exactly all world right now. So that's going to be a huge point for me tonight. Can you play enough defense in that second unit where you can slow down the Clippers second unit? And can you take advantage of enough offensive opportunities with that group to keep it close? You can't have a huge bench scoring discrepancy tonight because both of these offenses are high-powered in the starting lineup, and the Clippers are damn good defensively too. So you have a slim margin for error. You can't let the bench become the big differentiator tonight and cause a huge gap scoring-wise.
And the thing with the Clippers too is that they're finally, like you were talking about earlier in the show, they're finally at full strength. the first time we face them in what feels like forever, that they haven't been dealing with substantial injuries. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, 3 straight coming into tonight's game. It seems like they've kind of figured it out, especially with James Harden and Westbrook coming off the bench. I feel like they're in a really good place right now as a group.
They are.
And that's a little scary.
I mean, compared to when Harden first got there and they were really struggling. Yeah, I mean, listen, Kawhi has always been the guy that you needed the most, and he's been often injured, right? But he's been playing at a high clip this year, still unguardable as ever. So, I mean, if it's all clicking, the Clippers could beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with the Clippers is they've always run into injuries, and they've always found a way to kind of choke in the playoffs. So we'll see if that happens when we get there. Tonight, there's 2 things that I'm looking for. One of them is Bradley Beal. I think if Brad gets you 25, you're probably going to win this game, in my opinion. Just my opinion. And Devin Booker. Devin's also he's gonna have to have 30.
Yeah.
If Devin gets 30 and let's say 30 and 7 assists, Suns win this game too.
Well, I think we're due for a Devin 30-plus point performance. I feel like we haven't really gotten a traditional Devin Booker game in what feels like a hot minute. It's only been a handful of games, but for him, that's a long time.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to need a great Devin Booker performance, maybe one we haven't seen before, not necessarily in terms of scoring, but across the board statistically, because this is a Clippers team, like you guys said. They started 3-7. They've been 17-5 since. They're clicking on all cylinders. Kawhi came back from injury the other night, played against Miami, dropped 24. They have nobody on that injury report right now. This is a team that is extremely dangerous and difficult in all phases of the game. So Devin has to step up and not only be point book, but be assassin book and help on the boards tonight as well if they want a real chance. Because like I said, I don't have any faith in this bench to help carry this team tonight against a quality Clippers bench. So you're going to need everything. And I also think, we're going to see the next Suns head coach on the Clippers sideline.
The bench can carry as long as Eric Gordon knocks down 8 threes.
Even then,
in that case, maybe we'll be okay, but we're definitely going to need something from him.
Does he get a tribute video like he did with the Rockets? Because if he got a tribute video for the Clippers, he's going to go off for like 35.
That's on Monday.
That would be at
Clippers. That's right.
Yeah, so maybe on Monday. We'll see.
They're going to need somebody, an outlier, to have a big game, like a Grayson Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Does Grayson count as an outlier anymore?
Yes.
I think so, because he still doesn't have crazy scoring nights on a regular basis. You know he's good for 10 some odd points every night.
Mm-hmm.
But if Grayson Allen shows up and has 23, that's not a normal Grayson Allen game.
That's
so
fair.
yeah, I think he can be considered that in that sense.
The other day when he had like 32, like that's the type of performance you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not a habitual 20-point scorer in this league.
Fair.
So this would be an outlier if he got like 30.
Right. We got a super chat from Psycho Blue. Thank you, Psycho Blue. They said Basketball Cthulhu saw that. The Clippers injury report is clean and said, quote, less than ideal, Robert. Bosnian Beast Showtown tonight. Please don't suck. I mean, Yusuf Nurkic got his hands full too. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough one, you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a little concerned.
He's got to go nose to nose with Zubac tonight, not get in foul trouble, because guess what? There's no backup center that is going to, at least offensively, come to your aid there. So, and you can't go small like you maybe could do when KD's out there and get creative and go with him at the 5, or even Chemezi. You got to figure it out. He's got to have a big one tonight, Nurk, and be smart about it too.
Yeah, because Zubac has been averaging about 10 rebounds and 12 points per game this season, but a little bit of an uptick rebounding as of late. So he's got his hands full as well. We got one more super chat from Psycho Blue. Thank you again. They said the Clippers should be proof on why we shouldn't abandon hope on the big 3. Everyone is injury prone until 1 year they're not. Just keep morale up. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that one. The
Not wrong at
Clippers
all.
did have to go through a lot to get to where they are now.
They still haven't won anything.
That's true.
And it's not halfway through this season
Yeah.
yet, so
There's still
it's not
time.
They
put the
still
parade
have
out
time.
yet.
All right, I want to real quick. Who the hell is Grayson going to guard tonight? When you look at this lineup that the Clippers throw out there, are you going to put him on Terrence Mann? Are you going to put him on James Harden? Are you going to put him on Paul George or Kawhi Leonard? Like, I think there's going to be. I know Grayson is scrappy defensively, but there's going to be a serious mismatch out there, and at least with the starting lineup.
I mean, you're acting like nobody else out there is a serious mismatch too.
Well, in terms of,
I mean, you're calling out Grayson, but
no,
Book hasn't been phenomenal on defense either. So that's, he's going to have to step up. Shemezi Metu has not been a decent defensive stalwart. They all have to play solid team defense. And listen, their lineup is versatile enough, 1 through 4, to be able to guard those guys by switching a lot. Like, you're going to have to, but there's not a person in the world that's going to be able to shut down PG or shut down James Harden or shut down Kawhi. So I'm not concerned about Grayson Allen at all.
To me, when you're playing him at small forward, you're playing at a size deficit when you play these 3 guys together, and your hope is they have a better offensive output than the other guys you're going against. But tonight, that's not. I mean, let's be honest, it's not likely that you're going to have a better offensive output between those 3 guys than James, Kawhi, and Paul George. So now you're like, okay, defensively, that's a lot of size that the Clippers are out there. Grayson isn't necessarily a big guy. Neither is Brad or Devin. They're okay, but these are bigger guys. That's my concern, is just because you're starting what amounts to 3 guards, you're going to have a size disadvantage against these guys too.
I mean, I just think we have a disadvantage on the defensive side, no matter who's guarding who.
Kind of in general.
To be honest, like I know you put it on Grayson, but I think it's the whole team. To be honest with you,
okay, Grayson has not been the Suns' best defender all year long in terms of the
Nobody
traditional
said that.
In the chat, Jacob said it. Aspo, Grayson has been our best defender all season. No, he's worked his ass off on the defensive end. He's put in probably more hustle than other guys, but he's not been the best defender out there.
But he hasn't been so egregious that I'm going to worry about him. I just think that the whole unit, they have not shown tremendous connectivity from time to time, and they were starting to get it against Portland, but again, when you have KD out of the lineup and you got these variables that are constantly changing, it is very hard to build chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like Jacob said, Allen is 6'4", 220. Allen's no slouch. Like, I know the couple inches, sure, but like he's physical enough and strong enough to be able to hold his own at the point. So I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about the entire group. Like, how are they going to communicate? How are they going to move? What's Nurk going to do in drop coverage, or is he not going to drop coverage? Is he going to hedge? Like, those are the things that I'm really going to be looking at, because if they do drop coverage against somebody like PG or Harden and they're feeling it, it's not going to be pretty.
Well, and they can't do what they were doing earlier in the year, where both guys were getting caught in no man's land, where one was going under and they were hedging, and it just became a mess. They gotta make sure that tonight they're on point across the board in that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about a little Devin Booker, Paul George beef, because Devin was asked about it at shoot around this morning. Here's what he had to say about the drama.
It's just competitive, man. So that's what it is. Fun and competitive.
I find it interesting that when you 2 halves play, I go back to 2021, where you defended Payne, and you jumped in. Is that part of what you're talking about? Just, that competitive part of it?
Yeah, that's where it started, and just never been resolved. So
will it ever be resolved?
Honestly, it's just hoops, man. It's competitive. It's nothing that lives off the floor, so it's fine.
I think the last part of that answer was my favorite. So Dwayne had asked him if you had a hard time hearing. He said, will it ever be squashed, or will it ever be over? And Devin, the little cheeky smile that we get from Devin when he's trying to answer something the correct way and I don't really care. To be completely honest with you, I don't really care.
According to Paul George, there's no beef off the court.
Well, Book just said the same thing.
I
It's all
know.
basketball.
It's all basketball, allegedly. Now, do I believe that? No, because I look at their body language. Listen, Paul George has this thing about Book that, there's a look, there's a kind of way that he talks about him that you just know, like if somebody was talking about you to somebody else like that, you would be able to tell, like, oh man, that dude does not like me at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you just can tell. So, I again, this is the perfect scenario for Devin Booker to have a bounce back. I'm ready.
This is where everybody's like, oh, Devin and Kobe. Kobe was the guy that was like, you knew when he didn't like guys off the court too. And I think Book tries to hide it a lot, but like, I'm not buying that he and Luka like each other all that much, and that it's just on the court.
So,
I disagree.
Or that he and PG.
I think what it is I don't think that Book dislikes them. I think Book doesn't mess with them. Like there's a difference of being indifferent towards someone, of like, hey, yeah, I'll say what's up. Like we can do small talk. I'll congratulate you on your kid. But beyond that, I'm good. We're not going to hang out. We're not going to go on vacation in the off seasons. Like, don't invite me out on a boat because I'm good.
As the PHNX resident expert in body language.
Who dubbed you that?
Yeah, that's
right now. You?
No.
I dubbed myself that because I grew in a deaf household and I had to use body language a lot. Okay, so nobody judge me.
You can't use that.
So your body language right now, man.
My body language right now is not good.
Not great.
Not to these two. I'm going to say that I think Book loves to be competitive with Luka, and on the court they hate each other. But I do think that Book is a little bit more. He will appease Luka off the court and be a little bit more cordial to him. Like if he was invited to go do something with Luka, he would do it. Whereas somebody said, hey, we got this Nike event or whatever, and we want you and PG to be there, I could totally see Devin be like, nah, I'm not going with that dude.
I feel like this is more on PG's end. That it's a PG.
Yeah.
Well, I think it bled over.
Yeah, and then
Book's like, all right, well, fuck you then.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Because if you told me to pick a player across the league who you thought was going to have drama with Devin Booker, Paul George would not have even crossed my mind.
Oh, Pandemic P? Are you kidding me? Fuck that guy.
No.
I've always disliked Paul George.
I would have never thought that, though.
I wonder if part of it's too is Book got big national attention when in the bubble when he hit that shot over the two of them too, and whenever people talk about it nationally and show highlights, that's usually one of them. So I'm sure that eats at a guy a little bit
fair.
too. But yeah, look, if I were to pick anybody that was going to have beef with Devin, I would think everybody might, because he talks a lot of shit on the court, and he's not, and he does not reserve that for anybody.
He's not the only one who talks mess.
But it wouldn't shock me that anybody might take it a certain way.
I'm telling you, man. I always have a theory about some of this stuff. And when it comes to PG, I'm just, listen, man, sometimes you don't like them light-skinned guys, man. I'm just saying, like.
Well, I will say if there was ever a game where Devin should go off, this would be a great game to do that. But what are they wearing tonight?
They're wearing the ALLCITY edition.
Love to see
versus
it.
one of the worst uniforms in the league, the Clippers Association edition white, with the worst font ever. Like it was from the Microsoft collection.
I'm not a fan of those ones, but I'm glad we get ALLCITY tonight.
I also do want to say, like Sean said this, PG kind of cool from watching his pod. I actually do like PG on his pod. I think he's really good on it. It's a good show. It's a good podcast. But again, like I just feel like when it comes to Devin Booker, there's something there that he's just, he wants to bury him.
We just need both of them on with Saul in the middle, just being, your body language is bad. You're not looking good. You got to look him in the eyes. Come on, man.
See, look, when you said that, I heard what you said out of here, but I didn't feel what you were saying out of here. You know what I mean? Like that.
PHNX therapy.
By the way, I like Jacob's comment. I like it. We need a little bit of hate back in the NBA. It is taken away from the game. I agree. Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with a good old rivalry and dislike on the court. Yes. Right? Like that makes the game more fun on every facet.
Like when like U of A ASU football, right? And you can say basketball, but let's just say football, okay? Like when you go into that game, Like there is a visceral reaction to the other team. And there's like this desperate need to not want to lose that game so bad because you don't want to answer to the other team, right?
Yeah.
It's physical. Like, and it's been a long time since we've had the league be like that, where it's like, it's not only just like who's the best team, but it's like personal to you, you know, like, oh, you know, you want to punch every guy on the other team. You know what I mean? Like it's been a long time since that happened. So I would love if it got a little physical tonight, if dude's got some texts, like, hell, I would love to see a fight. I ain't gonna lie. Let's go.
Lindsay, you ready to run the 7 seconds or less offense? Because I just realized it's 6:56.
Yeah, we're
All right.
good. Who you guys got tonight, but how much?
I got the Suns by 1.
I have the Suns by 2. I still have faith.
I'm going to go Suns by 8 because why not? Let's
Okay.
just have a big game.
Gerald is not confident whatsoever. Shame on you, Gerald. He has the Clippers by 5.
I mean,
Boo.
Tisk, Gerald.
typically anytime I say the Suns by 1, I don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah, but at least you play Suns.
Yeah,
You know
of
why
course.
Gerald did that? Because he doesn't have to face the music being out at
It's
the
true.
arena.
I know.
It's true.
What do our friends at the BetMGM Sportsbook app think?
4.5 point Suns favorite tonight.
No, Clippers.
No, other way,
Clippers
Clippers
Excuse
favored.
me.
Yeah,
Well, you can get 4.5 points for the Suns.
right. Which is plus money for the Suns, which I feel like I've said this more often than I probably should this year. But it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
All right. What are you guys putting your money on?
I am not taking anybody to win, so I just
Smart.
went with three player props. So I got Bradley Beal over 18.5. I have Grayson Allen over 12.5, and Kawhi Leonard over 23.5.
At a plus 380.
Yep,
That's pretty good.
I think I'm gonna get that.
Espo?
I went simple tonight. I told you that Devin Booker had to
Lord.
do something we've never seen before. Devin Booker's going to get a triple-double tonight.
All right.
Plus 1,900.
His
there.
first one ever in the
His
regular
first one
season.
ever in the regular season.
Yep.
You're
He
going to
got
need
it in
it
the
to
playoffs
win.
against the Clippers.
His first one was against the Clippers.
You're going to need it. So
Well, I guess we'll find out. I am going to put my money on the Suns tonight. Please don't make me regret this. I have the money line for the Suns and both teams to score 100 points at a plus 160. So just a little bit better than just straight money line, which is what Flex is going with tonight. Everybody asking where Flex is. He told you he went back to Jersey for a few days. He'll be back soon.
Yep.
But this is the basics Suns money line for Flex tonight. And we'll see. Fingers crossed. If Flex wins, at least I know I win. Well, in theory, I should win. But we'll see. If you guys want to get in on the action and put a bet down for yourself, you can sign up for the BetMGM Sportsbook app using that promo code PHNX. Right now, they have a $1,500 first bet offer going on when you use that code PHNX. All you got to do is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10. And if that bet loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
get stuffed, Ontario.
I'm going to screenshot the chat just right here and send it to Flex.
Real quick, go to Tech Review says, if we lose, the sky is not falling, by the way, which
This
is
is true.
absolutely true.
100%
Like
true.
listen, again, I talked about the reactions that we'll have from time to time, and more often than not, to me at least, I do not react well to bad basketball. Like if you're just sloppy, it looks like you don't care. Yeah, I'm going to call you out. But tonight, against good competition, I just want to see a good game. Like I want the Suns to win, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to lose my mind if they lose. If they played solid, they played hard, everything went, as best as it could, and it just didn't go your way tonight. That's cool. That's fine. I have no issue with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, go watch the game. Fingers crossed it's a good one. And don't forget to meet us right back here after it wraps up. Okay, bye.
Forks down.
We all silly like the mayor.